I'm delighted to have you join me again on this section of our discussion on important topics that will help us make informed decision. On this note, I want to welcome you to this broadcast and want to specifically give appreciation to those who have been subscribing and going through our YouTube channel to get all the needed information, and those that have been making informed decision. I want to salute you and also welcome you to this episode. I remain Emmanuel Binaka, agricultural consultant, specific soil science and land management. On this section, I want us to discuss about plantain as the best choice for intercropping in oil palm estate. Now, agro real estate has what I call Trapatite benefit or return on investment. Trapatite benefit. Now, I may have mentioned this when we looked at introduction to the agro real estate. Trapatite benefit, I mean, if well planned, there are three possible ways that the investor can get return on his investment. And that's what I refer to as a tripartite benefit. The first, the three benefits, the first out of the three is the fact that the land which appreciates over time. Then secondly, the crop, the original permanent crop, which is integrated with the real estate planted on the land. And then the third is the crop which can be intercrop with the oil palm for the period of, like I said, a period of 3 to 4 years before the oil palm start producing. And so the agro real estate will continue to be a very fertile ground for every investment because of this tripartite benefit. You're benefiting from the major resources, which is the land. You are benefiting from the oil palm, as we have discussed, that you are integrating. And then for the period of 3 to 4 years before the production of the oil palm, you're also benefiting from the crop which you have intercrop with the oil palm. And so if the agro real estate is well planned under good management, this tripartite benefit is very much possible. And that is why we discuss the oil palm as the best crop to be integrated with the real estate. And now we want to discuss, don't forget, in one of our discussions, we talked about the science of intercropping, the science of intercropping. And today we're going to be looking at plantain as one of the best crop to intercrop in the early stage, at that early stage of the oil palm plantation. Now, like I said, if this decision is well made and the right crop is chosen for this purpose, it will also give the farmer or the investor that initial benefit over his land. So it's a system that provides getting immediate return on your investment, early return on your investment. So you are not waiting for 3 or 4 years to start getting your return on investment through the harvesting of the oil palm, but in looking at most 1 year, you started getting your return. And that is why I want to discuss the plantain as the best choice crop to be intercropped with the oil palm. And I'll just discuss with us 10 reasons why plantain is regarded as the best choice crop to intercrop with the oil palm. 10 reasons why plantain is the way to go. Number one is the fact that the spacing for the oil palm supports its cultivation. Remember when we talked about the oil palm, we talked about the spacing, 9 by 9 by 9 meters in triangular pattern or form. And that spacing creates the opportunity for the plantain to also be integrated into it. Because at that early stage and with that spacing, you have you have enough space to accommodate this intercrop, which is the plantain. So the spacing of the oil palm support is growth. So some persons may we'll come to that. Some persons may say, oh, the plantain, would it affect the growth of the oil palm? No, not at all. The spacing, like I said, of the oil palm is gapped enough to accommodate the spacing or the planting of this particular crop. Another reason why plantain is seen as the best choice for intercropping is the fact that plantain is not a perennial crop, and it has no future hazard or effect on the major crop, which is the oil palm. Now, there are some little differences when it comes to the classification of the plantain based on the life cycle. Based on life cycles, some will tell you that the plantain is a perennial crop. Some will tell you it is biennial crop. Some will tell you it's annual crop. But if you look at the definition of these three classes of crop based on their life cycle, you will see that any plant that is able to be planted, germinate, grows, and produce for you within 1 year is in the category of annual crop. And so if you look at the plantain, if carefully put it to observation, you will discover that the plantain, if cultivated within a space of 8 to 10, 11 months, it is ready for harvest. And that means the plantain can start giving you return in 1 year. And so for me, I would rather put the plantain into an annual crop. And most people will say, okay, it's perennial crop because once it's cultivated, it keeps producing. But again, that narrative is drawn from the fact that once a particular stand of plantain is harvested, the sucker takes over. But it should be noted that the sucker is just a different plant entirely. So one particular plant, talking about the sucker, grows and produce and mature within 1 year. So another sucker coming out is actually a different plant entirely. And so why am I saying this? Is to say here that the plantain is not a perennial tree crop. And looking at the fact that the oil palm is already perennial, because one of the things I said from the onset in choosing a crop to integrate with the oil palm, I said the oil palm is already a perennial crop, and so you are not expected to integrate it with another perennial crop. A good example, you are integrating cashew, or integrating pawpaw, or you are integrating another perennial crop with the oil palm. It's not ideal. But for the plantain, for those that are saying, is it not a perennial crop? Why integrate plantain again with oil palm? It is not. And within 1 year, the plantain can mature and be ready for harvest. So the second reason why plantain is seen as a choice crop to intercrop with the oil palm is the fact that plantain is not a perennial tree crop, and it does not have or pose any future challenge on the original crop, which is the oil palm. Number three reason why plantain is to be chosen is the fact that plantain compete favorably with weeds. It competes favorably with weeds, and it also reduces weed growth. Don't forget that this intercrop, when we talked about the science of intercrop, it is just beyond the benefit derived from the crop. It also goes as far as looking at a crop that can help checkmate the prevalence of weed on the land, so that your oil palm will grow in an environment that is not subject to pest attack because of the prevalence of weeds. So the plantain is one crop that competes favorably with weeds and also reduce weed growth. And that is a huge benefit to the oil palm seedlings that are cultivated alongside with this crop. Another reason why the plantain is seen as best choice for intercropping with the oil palm is the fact that the plantain cannot and can never outgrow the oil palm. Yeah, the plantain can never outgrow the oil palm. So for those that are thinking, would the plantain outgrow the oil palm? It's not. Don't forget, I said that the plantain is not a perennial tree crop, and so there is no way it's going to outgrow the oil palm seedlings. Number 5 reason is that the plantain tolerates some level or certain level of shade. It is to a certain level a shade tolerant plant. Another reason is the quick income potential of the plantain. The quick income potential of the plantain. Like I said, the plantain with good variety, proper variety, and good maintenance and proper timing, you can have your plantain produce and mature for harvest within 1 year of propagation. That is a quick return on investment. Looking at the fact that within 1 year you can start harvesting your crop is a very quick one when it comes to return on investment. So the plantain is a choice crop due to its quick income potential. Another reason why the plantain is best when it comes to intercropping with the oil palm is the fact that the broad leaves that are provided by the plantain kind of protect the tender oil palm seedlings. Don't forget, when you subscribe in our previous broadcast, we talked about climate change, and then we looked at how to control or at least manage the incidents of the irregular pattern of rainfall, the high temperature. And one of those things that we suggested is how cover cropping in form of mulching or planting of crops like the plantain, intercrop with the oil palm, can help provide shade. And so one good thing about integrating or intercropping the plantain with the oil palm is the fact that these crops provide a kind of shade for the tender oil palm seedlings. So in period of scarcity of water, of course, that is a science that has to do with proper water management. So if there be a little prolonged period of dryness, that shade that have been provided by these secondary plants can help to conserve moisture in the soil, thereby reducing the effect of direct sunlight reaching the oil palm seedling. So one beautiful thing about the plantain is the fact that their broad leaves provide protection to the tender oil palm seedlings at that initial stage of their growth. Another benefit, which is number 8 benefit, why or reason why the plantain is seen as the best choice for intercrop is the fact that excessive suckers not a threat. It's not a threat to the proper development and growth of the oil palm. Again, this is another area that most persons ask. I say, okay, the plantain have the tendency of producing multiple suckers within shortest possible time, and there's a question of is this not going to be will this not have negative impact or effect on the oil palm cultivation? On the contrary, it will rather act as an additional source of revenue and additional source of planting materials, probably for further expansion. Yeah, one beautiful thing about the plantain as a best intercrop is the production of suckers. And so those suckers being produced It's not a threat. It's not a threat to the oil palm. It is not a threat to the land, but rather another avenue for profitability to the farmer or to the investors, because these suckers can be detached and sold. That is a source of revenue. These suckers could also be detached and used for expansion purposes. Beautiful, right? And so that is why the plantain rather is a best choice intercrop plant with the oil palm. At this moment, I think we can even say choosing this crop to intercrop with the oil palm will now make the benefits in this agro real estate to be more than just tripartite benefit, because of the benefit derived from the suckers that are also produced by this plantain. The ninth reason which I want us to discuss about is the plantain is the fact that the plantain is not really highly susceptible to diseases. There are one or two diseases that can affect the plantain, but on the average, from study and practice, the plantain is not a crop that have high risk or high susceptibility to disease or to pest attacks. So it's highly resistant and highly resistant to some of these diseases or pests that may be of great disaster to some other crops. And lastly, the beautiful thing or reason why plantain can also be seen as the best choice crop for intercrop is what I refer to as one-time planting. One-time planting and easy harvesting. What do I mean by one-time planting? Like when I started, I said the crop to choose as an intercrop with the oil palm must be duly considered. Research have to be carried out and to see the sustainability of such crop and to see if your investment can really be returned within the shortest possible time. And one thing about the plantain is that once cultivated, it can reproduce itself. We talked about the suckers. Unlike if you are going to integrate some other arable crop with the oil palm, you will have to carry out continuous planting of such crops. So if you are integrating maize, you are integrating cowpea, you are integrating cucumber, you are integrating watermelon, and some of all these crops, of course, you're going to be procuring seed every year, pending when the main crop, which is your oil palm, forms canopy. So you're going to be procuring planting materials year in, year out to replant and all that. But one beautiful thing about the plantain is that it has one-time planting. So once it has been planted, it has the capacity to produce itself by means of generating suckers, and year in, year out. All you just need to do is proper management of the farm. No need, no stress of having to come again another year, getting planting materials to plant again and all of that. So the beauty is that there's one time planting. And again, I said the ease in harvesting is another beautiful thing about the plantain cultivation. So the plantain is easy to harvest when matured. So these are some of the reasons, some of the great benefits why I think and I believe that the plantain should be integrated or intercrop with the oil palm. And it is based on this knowledge and numerous research that the Silvawell Limited in all her plots have chosen this crop as an intercrop with the oil palm because it is friendly to the primary crop. It provides beneficial role to the primary crops by way of providing cover and shade. And then not just that it protects the soil, not just that it protects the primary crop, it also provides quick return on your investment. And also a kind of providing a fourth a leg in kind of getting return on your investment. That's the production of suckers, which can, like I said, serve as a source of revenue. And I want to believe that With this information, you will know better on why the plantain is to be chosen among other crops. On this note, I want to thank you for listening and also to appeal to our viewers out there and anyone that will come across this to do subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get all the necessary information as far as agro real estate is concerned. And as a matter of fact, getting the right information from this leading agro real estate, the Silvawell Limited. Thank you. Catch you in our next episode.